Make some noise for...
I told him when I come back, we're going swimming. So, tell everybody thank you for them. Скажи, дякую.
Дякую.
Не, английский.
Thank you.
Thank you, что? Very much. Еще раз.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Future president of Ukraine right here. All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. It is 5:50 Eastern Standard Time. I actually was putting together a lot of information. I was getting ready to drop another facts-only video, and the facts kept growing and growing and growing and growing. And I said, you know what? I dropped a message to the mods, and I said, I think I need to go live on this one. And then they said, yes, please go live. I also plan to do a live tomorrow night and give away a battle flag. Our schedule here is crazy right now. I fly out Saturday morning for Los Angeles. I'll be speaking in Los Angeles on Sunday, back on Monday. But regardless, we'll see what happens. Just stay tuned. Have the notification bell on. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for your support. Thank you to our mods. Thank you, everybody working hard. Already, Papa Dutch, crew member, 9 months, with the message, spread the word. Papa Dutch, $5 super chat. And now, ladies and gentlemen, and the rest of us, here's Mertzy, member for 9 months, feeling ill today, but I'll be lurking. Mertzy, thank you for lurking around. Right now, guys, I have a lot of information to share with you. First of all, I want to say, I think the facts only videos are being well received. We've experienced a lot of growth over the last week and very thankful for that and thankful to all of you. I can also tell you right now that our partner, Zhenya, many of you guys that are new, you have no idea who I'm talking about unless you went back and looked at old videos, but you will see we had to pull Zhenya off the front line today, although mission was accomplished. He's ran the entire front line, but he was supposed to be down there a little bit longer. He may be watching this right now. I don't know. He's en route driving back to our base city of Khmelnytsky. He learned today that his son, I quote, severely broke his leg. So Zhenya is driving back from the front lines right now all the way to our home base in Khmelnytsky, Ukraine. He will pick his son up and immediately drive him straight to Kyiv for the best hospitals and best care. So that is the deal there. So guys, remember Zhenya in your prayers, your thoughts, as Johnny Pierce would say, when Venus and Mars align, whatever it may be. We appreciate that. Petra Olsen coming in with the 129 Swedish krones there. She is the non-smoking initiative. Petra is a wonderful person who gave up smoking and put her smoking money or cigarette money towards supporting Ukraine. So thank you for that, Petra. So here we go, guys. A lot has happened. If you want to know the exact details of what happened earlier with the attack on Dnipro, that we are still waiting for the exact information on, and that's coming directly just a few minutes ago from Kovalenko, one of the best military analyst inside Ukraine. If you're new here and joining me new, that's how I share things. I share things only from Ukraine. I will use media sources in the West and Europe, but I try to base my information out of Ukraine tonight. Zelenskyy has not dropped a video yet discussing this. Vladimir Putin has. I'm going to share a few clips of that. The White House has. I'm going to show you that. A Verkhovna Rada member has dropped a video, and I will be sharing that with you in just a few moments. But Zelenskyy did release a press report. Haji, thank you for that. Greg, your video this morning showing how they work was eye-opening. Yes, regardless of what it ends up being exactly, still, it came, it dropped sub, and then it dropped more. That's the bottom line. So mid-range missile is what we're really looking at. And listen, the only difference between ICBM and mid-range is the distance they can travel. So there's really no difference generally in what they can do. So that's what we're talking about there. And Haji, you're very welcome for that. So guys, let's get right to it, because that's what you're here for. That's what I want to share. We know. And if you're just catching up with this, you can go to my video earlier today and you can be updated on what happened and how it happened with the strike on Dnipro. Later in the video or the live tonight, you will hear Vladimir Putin refer to it as Dnipropetrovsk. That's the old Soviet name, but it's Dnipro. The Ukrainian government changed the name of Dnipropetrovsk to Dnipro many years ago. So that's what we are talking about. I appreciate all of you so deeply, and let's get right into it. This is why you're here. Zelenskyy has replied to the use of that weapon on Dnipro. Here are his statements, and then I'm going to read to you, and I usually don't read online. I try to just give it straight to you with little graphics like this and have the knowledge in my head. But I want to read this to you. Zelenskyy concise reply: Russia definitely does not want peace. Quote from Zelenskyy: today's ballistic attack showed this. I think we can all agree with that. Jesse Shaw is a roller. He's asking any rollers in the chat. I want to give a big shout out to Rick the Ukrainian, one of our partners there. Yes, I'm a roller. I'm a proud partner there with Rick. Zelenskyy said, today's ballistic missile attack showed this. Russia definitely does not want peace. Second thing Zelenskyy said, Putin is lying when he says that the alleged use of long-range weapons by Ukraine was some new step of ours. 100% a fact what Volodymyr Zelenskyy said. I will remind you tonight that Ukraine has already struck at longer ranges with some of their modified missiles and additionally their long-range attack drones. Ukraine has struck even into Moscow, even deeper into central Russia at supply warehouses. Some of those strikes over 1,000 kilometers from the border of Ukraine. Moscow, 500, 600, 700 kilometers, 550, 650, 750, depending on where you're at up there in the north. It's not that far, but still a decent distance. So Zelenskyy saying, we've already done this. Now, here's what you need to understand. Putin is coming to it, and you will hear him say it in just a moment, that it's not about the Ukrainian weapon striking long range, but he's stating that it's just escalation, that it's the Western weapons. Because I remind you a couple of days ago that Ukraine struck in the Bryansk region with ATACMS. At first, we thought it was 6. It turned out to be 8. They had a very successful strike using American ATACMS. We know that to follow that up, Storm Shadows were used in the Kursk region to attack that area in Marina there. I did a video on that showing they're really like a bunker buster, powerful missile there, and it hit on the eastern side of that presidential, it's not a presidential palace, it's a presidential retreat place. It's a military headquarters, and we also know that North Koreans were there and logistics were there, and we even now are having reports, I will not give it as a facts only, you're alive with me now, that some North Korean commanders were killed in that strike. So we know that Russia is looking at it as the Western weapons, but Putin did say that Ukraine is now striking us with long-range weapons. Zelenskyy coming out and saying, we've already struck you with long-range weapons. We've just changed the type. You now have America working through us, supplying us, better way to say it, but let's just call it for what it is. Let's be honest, let's call it for what it is. With that supply and with that permission, striking at that Russian war machine, that evil dictator, as they should, because only will they understand power. This is what Zelenskyy said. Secondly, Zelenskyy said, today, by striking Dnipro with a missile, Putin took the second step towards escalation in a year. The first was involving North Korea in the war, President Zelenskyy said. And now I am repeating, if you're just joining us now, Zelenskyy has not dropped his evening video yet. I don't expect it. It's now 1 a.m. in the morning. His typical, I look in the iPhone, I hit record, I speak to the Ukrainians, Ukrainski, how he begins those evening addresses to the Ukrainian people. He did put out a press release. I have it. I'm going to read it to you next. But I wanted to draw a highlight to a couple of these statements, especially this one. This is the second escalation coming from the Russian side. And Zelensky's spot on. The first is involving North Korean troops in the war. I can confirm to you that North Korean boots are on Ukrainian sovereign territory, not only in the Kursk region. We know that there is more rumblings now about Chinese supply, potential weapon supply. Remember, this is not a facts only. We're hearing the rattling of that. Of course, Iran being active in this war, especially with their Shahed technology that, of course, now Russia has taken and they've modified, they've made them better, they've adjusted propulsion, they've adjusted guidance systems, cellular guidance systems, camera systems, thermobaric, you name it, guys. It's escalation after escalation after escalation. So Zelenskyy reminding the world, this strike was not the first escalation, but North Koreans being involved in this war is an escalation. Good question here, Maria Gladzuk. Did I miss it? Were there reports on casualties or damage caused by the ICBM in Dnipro? No, there were no, as I know right now, casualties. Putin does come out and he says that they struck a military target. I've got it on video. I'll show it to you in just a second. Let me get to this now, and then I want to go to Zelensky's full transcript. Papa Dutch, $10 super chat. I find it less than impressive that ATACMS use is released from constraints now that Ukraine's domestic weaponry has proven to be far greater range and accuracy. Let me speak to that, Papa Dutch. It's a good comment, but there is a massive difference, sir. There's a massive difference. Yes, we're very thankful that Ukraine is developing its own technology. They are even producing long-range modified missiles. That's a fact. Their drone technology for long-range strikes with drones is the best in the world, bar none. They are putting drones on Moscow, guys. And I know, well, Russia doesn't have any air defense. Guys, they're putting drones in Moscow. It's happening regularly. They're striking defensive positions, military positions regularly. Ukraine's technology is advancing in light years beyond Europe. It's happening beyond the West because they're involved in a war. So what is the difference, though, Papa Dutch? The difference is it's supplied by the United States. It's supplied by Great Britain. It's supplied by France. It's supplied by member nations of NATO. This is the narrative. So it may be less impressive that the ATACMS, and we know they've struck in Crimea as well earlier on. It may be less impressive. But I'm here to tell you that the Russian narrative will be, we don't care what Ukraine does. We're at war with Ukraine. But when the ATACMS and the Storm Shadows start flying, well, now the West is involved. The United States is attacking us. That's their view. France and Great Britain are attacking us. Of course, they're completely blind that they're dropping boots from the North Korean People's Republic onto Ukrainian territory. We're blind to that. You see, it's okay for us to escalate. It's okay for us to drop crazy technology missiles, even if it's older technology. Today could have been very ugly. Don't read anything else into it. It could have been very ugly. They were not loaded. It's okay for us to drop North Korean troops in here. It's okay for us to rattle sabers. It's okay for us to throw out threats. It's okay for us to sabotage. It's okay for us to disrupt media around the world. It's okay for us to do everything, but we really want peace. And I have a video to document that in just a moment. Stick with me. Niels Clement gifting 10 memberships tonight. Thank you for that, Niels. Appreciated deeply. And, you know, I receive a lot of nice comments and I try to read through them. The channel is just growing very quickly right now. And I'm deeply grateful for that. Thank you, everybody. This is what we try to share, the truth. And additionally, we put our boots on the ground and we deliver aid to the front lines. Papa Dutch, $10. Ukraini learn fast. Yes, they do. The Weasel, £5. Come on, Ukraine. How about this?
Слава Україні!
So let me get back to Niels Clement there. Niels, when you gift memberships, I've received many kind comments from people that are saying, you know, thank you. Whoever gifted me that membership, thank you. I'm looking forward to the membership there on Greg's channel. Appreciate that. Papa Dutch, $10. Smirks, a bargaining chip and a hollow one. Yet the MIRV is troubling indeed. It is troubling. It is troubling. That's a fact. So this is Zelensky's concise statements. Now, guys, as I was sharing with you, and thank you for being here. If you're watching right now, Zelensky has not dropped a video tonight. It is abnormal. There has been very, very few evenings in this war where President Zelensky has not dropped an evening video, but he did drop a press release. And I'm going to read that to you right now. I hate to read on a live stream, but I want you to see it. Here we go. This is Zelensky's press release. A new ballistic missile was used. That's coming from Zelensky. This is a quote, by the way, folks. Putin hit our city, Dnipro, one of the largest cities in Ukraine. This is an obvious and serious increase in scale and cruelty of this war, a cynical violation of the UN Charter by Russia. And I emphasize this is Russia's second step towards escalation in a year. The first such step was the involvement of North Korea in the war against Ukraine, a contingent of at least 11,000 soldiers. This is Zelensky's official statement tonight. Putin has taken both of these steps, ignoring everyone in the world who is calling for the war not to expand. He does not care about what China, Brazil, European countries, America, all of the countries of the world are calling for. Putin is the only one who started this war. I remind you, it was Russia that invaded Ukraine, a completely unprovoked war, and who is doing everything to keep the war going for more than 1,000 days. If you're just joining, I am reading Zelensky's press release tonight in regard to the strike on Dnipro. Today's ballistic missile against Ukraine is yet another proof that Russia definitely does not want peace, and Putin is lying when he says that the alleged use of long-range weapons by Ukraine was some new step of ours. This is not the first time we have used this weapon, and we have a full right to this according to the norms of international law. Zelensky referring there specifically to the ATACMS that were used earlier in the war on the strikes on Crimea. All right, Putin will say, okay, this is where it's stupid. Let me give, all right, here's the inside knowledge then. All right, you ready for this? Putin's an idiot. Putin is an absolute moron. Putin says Crimea is ours. Come on, everybody, go with me right now for a couple of minutes. Putin says Crimea is Russia. Putin says Lugansk is Russia. Putin says Donetsk is Russia. Zaporizhia is Russia, and Kherson is Russia. They even adjusted their constitution, stealing these properties on the books. All that's reality. but only when the ATACMS were used to strike Bryansk and the Storm Shadows were used to strike Kursk does Putin now say that the long-range weapons were used on our territory. Sir, that is a very dumb statement for you to make because, everybody go with me here, I thought you said Crimea was yours. I thought Crimea is Russia. So if Ukraine has used in the past ATACMS to strike Crimea, why didn't you hit Ukraine then? Because they were striking Russia then, in your opinion, dear sir. Therefore, every argument that comes out of Vladimirovich Putin's mouth, and I will share it with you, every statement he says is baloney. It's absolute baloney. They create the narrative. Zelenskyy is 100% right. All they want to do is increase the war machine, increase the war, destabilize the world, separate the world from the West to the East, a solidarity movement between Russia and China and India and Iran and these rogue nations that he is pulling into his web of deceit, standing on a divided line between the West, United States, European nations. I add to that Australia, wonderful nations in Asia that have supported Ukraine. So he is trying to divide the world completely. So the argument about, no, they hit us with ATACMS on Russian sovereign territory, that is baloney. Yes, we did. We did. We struck you and smacked you. But if that's your argument, it's very, very poor and weak because then you are stating that Crimea is not Russia. Period. Very, very simple. Period. Your argument is destroyed. Let's go back to, and this is the difference between the facts only and the lies. Go off script a little bit and share just, 2 plus 2 equals 4. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Why didn't you scream like this and do this and escalate when Crimea was hit? You know why? Because you know that Crimea is Ukraine. Just as Bryansk and Kursk is Russia. No argument there. Bryansk region, Rostov region, Kursk region, it's Russia. You can have it. Take your weapons, take your army, take your military, take your doctrine, take your evil and go home. You can have it. We'll build a wall. We'll build a barrier, but it will be with the 1991 sovereign borders of Ukraine, Crimea included, period. And you're confirming that today through your statements. It's just the way it is. All right, let's go back. Right here. Today's ballistic missile, and this is Zelenskyy's statement tonight, guys. He didn't put a video out. Against Ukraine is yet another proof that Russia definitely does not want peace, and Putin is lying. Here it is. When he says the alleged use of long-range weapons by Ukraine was some new step of ours. This is not the first time we have used this weapon, and we have full right to this according to the norms of international law. Our right to self-defense is the same as that of any nation, any other nation. And when Russian missiles hit our cities, when Ukraine is attacked every night by Iranian shaheeds, when a contingent from North Korea is deployed on our border, come on, guys, listen to that. And this is Zelenskyy, not me. And when Russian missiles hit our cities, when Ukraine is attacked every night by Iranian shaheeds, when a contingent from North Korea is deployed on our border, what does he say? Putin not only prolongs the war, he simply spits every time in the face of those in the world who really want the restoration of peace. Kudos, President Zelenskyy, spot on. The world must react to it. Now there is no strong reaction from the world. Putin is very sensitive to this. He is checking you, dear partners. It is obvious. It is obvious right here to everyone who is the sole. Let me back that up. I drug something. I don't even know how to undo this. Where's undo? Right there. There. He is checking you, dear partners. It is obvious to everyone who is the sole culprit of this war, who started this war on February 24th and invest all his resources in ensuring that the war continues. It must be stopped. If there is no strong reaction to Russia's actions, then they see that it is possible. This is what Putin is doing. Continue. It is necessary for Putin to feel the cost of his sick ambitions. 100%. His closing. We must react. You have to press. It is necessary to force Russia. Everybody pay attention. Force Russia. It is necessary to force Russia to real peace, which is possible only through force. Think escalation? Otherwise, there will be endless Russian strikes, threats, and destabilization, and not only against Ukraine. True peace is worth working for. It is necessary to act. Thanks to everyone who helps Ukraine. Glory to Ukraine. Zelenskyy, here you go.
Слава Україні!
So, guys, that is it. JDO, good comment there. Putin may also inadvertently checking the friendship of CCP if he ever uses a tactical nuke, not just a weapons platform. Listen, he's probing, guys. He's probing. But you know, Zelensky's statement tonight, I just read it to you word for word, translated perfectly. Perfect translation. That statement is powerful. Also, Putin destroying his own narrative when he talks about striking for the first time on Russian territory. So it's just baloney, guys. It's absolute baloney. But unfortunately, this cannot be overlooked. This cannot be overlooked. So that is Zelensky's statements. Let me see here. Let me go and catch up on the supers and the memberships. Thank you guys so much. Dunk on You, $20 super chat. Thank you for that, my friend. As always, Dunk on You, a great moderator and partner of this channel. Dunk on You, gifting 10 memberships. Thank you for that as well. Chuck Yammerts, United States veteran. Thank you for your service, sir. Quote attributed Churchill and why Ukraine is ingenious from the drip feed of aid. Quote Churchill, gentlemen, we have run out of money. Now we have to think. Exactly. Darren Vaughn, $4.99. I can't believe people support Russia when allied with Russia and North Korea. Not my generation. Unthinkable. It's the power of propaganda and its population and its money and its media. It's deep. Apatalks gifting 1 membership. Thank you for that. Carl Elwell, my Vegas friend who's been with me for a long time, gifting 50 memberships tonight. Carl, for you, brother, thank you.
Слава Україні!
Michelle Marr coming in with $5 super chat. Ukraine will win. Yes, they will. And Darren Vaughn, North Korea, $1.99 super chat. And Iran, I meant. Yes, North Korea and Iran. But, you know, okay, you get into a whole different topic there. I've spent a lot of time working in the Middle East and I have a lot of friends that actually work underground in Iran. The narrative there inside Iran is hidden many times. There are many, many wonderful Ukrainian, of course, Ukrainian, many, many wonderful, I'm telling you the truth now, the truth, experiential on the ground, wonderful Iranian people who hate all of this. They are under a very oppressive and evil regime. North Korea is an evil, oppressive regime that has been locked tight for decades. Russia is a manipulated regime, although not locked tight for decades, completely under the control of the state. We can continue on further with other nations that are being pushed that direction. CCP, China, completely locked nation. Yes, they put the picture out there. Let's have international relations. Let's do business. Let us send our delegation. Let us build your stuff. Let us do that. But folks, it is an evil, closed society. We can talk about the Uyghurs in Western China someday, 13 million approximately that have been wiped off the planet in Western China. Different story, different topic, but similar narrative. These are very evil regimes. Let's go back now, guys. All right, so you're caught up on Zelenskyy. You know what Zelenskyy stated. If you're just joining us, you can back up later and see what Zelenskyy said. Now, Putin did come on. He spoke to the Russian people tonight for 7 minutes and 38 seconds. He spoke to the Russian people for 7 minutes and 38 seconds. I will not play 7 minutes and 38 seconds of that dictator and terrorist. I will pull out of a couple of statements and the video. But these are the basics. He said, the regional conflict in Ukraine has acquired a global character. Quote, the Dnipro was struck by the latest Oreshnik missile. Okay, this is where it's going to get interesting, guys, because I know you've been watching on Twitter. I'm going to drop some info on you guys right now. I'm going to drop some info on you right now. First of all, do you know what that translates to, Oreshnik? It translates to hazelnut. Hazelnut. The Dnipro was struck by the latest Oreshnik missile. Our missile attack at a speed of Mach 10, 2 to 3 kilometers a second. They cannot be intercepted. Saber rattling. Russia has the right to use weapons against countries that allow their use against Russian objects. Folks, it's the same statement he made 3 months ago. The exact same statement. However, this time, they've slung a missile. It was an empty missile, but they slung it. If you need details on that, go to the video I released earlier today called Facts Only, and I showed, explained it, talked about how it traveled, all the details, all facts. Now we're analyzing. Putin's statement continues. Russia will continue to test the latest weapons at the sites of its own choosing. I have some things to share with you about that in just a moment. The Russian Federation will offer civilians of Ukraine to leave dangerous areas during the use of missiles. How'd that work out for Dnipro? Thank God we're okay. How did that work? How does that work for Sumy? We're striking buildings with missiles. How does that work for Odessa when we're striking and leveling places with missiles? How does it work for Kharkiv and Zaporizhia and Kramatorsk and Poltava and Kyiv and Kremenchuk and Khmelnytsky and Vinnytsia and Zhytomyr and Rivne and Lviv and Ivano-Frankivsk and Transcarpathia? How does it work for those places when the missiles are flying? There's no warning. He said, the use of the Oreshnik system is a response to the withdrawal of the United States from the Treaty on Medium and Short-Range Missiles. I need to explain that to you. He states or believes that Ukraine using ATACMS in the Bryansk region and Storm Shadows in the Kursk region is the United States withdrawing from the Treaty on Medium and Short-Range Missiles. That's his statement. But it's okay for Russia just to level Ukraine to the ground. Scorched earth. This is not even logical, my dear friends. But of course, we're dealing with an evil dictator. An evil, evil narcissist dictator. You're wrong, I'm right. That's his viewpoint. The use of the Oreshnik system, response to the withdrawal of the United States from the Treaty on Medium Short-Range Missiles. Okay, let's take it away from Greg now, and let's take it directly into Ukraine. And then I'm going to show you Putin's statements, just a couple of them, because I don't want you to puke on your iPad right there while you're watching. But you need to hear it. We need to know what the enemy's saying. Okay, I'm going to read to you now, or share with you, Kovalenko. This is internal Ukrainian military analysis. You have now learned that the name of the missile being Oreshnik translates to hazelnut, okay? And I want you to remember the name Oreshnik. Oreshnik. All right, everybody's got it. Now, I want to take you to Kovalenko. This is Kovalenko. You say, well, who's Kovalenko? Trust me, military, analyst, blogger, hand, finger, right on the pulse of Ukraine. There are 3 or 4 internal Ukrainian analysts that I follow that I pass information to the English-speaking world. They're speaking in Ukrainian. They're writing in Ukrainian. We're translating it to English and getting it to you like this. Kovalenko just put out this statement minutes ago, hour ago now. Oreshnik. Today, Putin showed up on air and announced that Russia had used against Ukraine a new ballistic missile called Oreshnik. Let me play that video for you right here.
Testing one of Russia's newest medium-range missile systems, in this case a non-nuclear hypersonic ballistic missile. Our rocket engineers nicknamed it Hazelnut. The tests were successful. The launch objective was achieved. In Ukraine, Dnipropetrovsk, a major industrial complex from Soviet times that still produces missiles and other weapons, was hit. We're developing medium and short-range missiles in response to US plans to produce and deploy similar systems in Europe and the Asia-Pacific region.
Okay, so the first thing I wanted you guys to see was Kovalenko, and this is alive, so I'm taking my time on this one. Kovalenko, the Ukrainian analyst, making a direct reference to Putin's statement about the new Oreshnik. I then played for you that video where he says it. So let's go back now because I want to come back to that video. There are 2 or 3 key things in there you can't miss. Today, Putin showed up on air and announced that Russia had used against Ukraine a new ballistic missile called Oreshnik. I'll say this. In all the years I've been following the Russian industrial complex, defense industrial complex, I've never heard anything even close to being codenamed Oreshnik. Statement 1. This is not from, our wonderful YouTube community of folks that support, try to share truth, and deliver aid. All of our partners, and I know you guys watch different people and we're all working together. Kudos to you and thank you. That's what makes it work. It's not from any of us. This is not coming from some commander, and with all due respect, fighting right now in Karakova. This is coming from a military analyst who for years and years has studied the Russian war machine. He states, I've never, ever heard of a unit codenamed Oreshnik. Not even close. Hazelnut. So what kind of missile is that? So Putin literally stated, the missiles attack the target at a speed of 10 Mach, which is 2.5 to 3 kilometers per second. The modern air defenses systems available around the world and the missile defense systems being created by the Americans in Europe do not intercept such missiles. This is off the table. Here's what Kovalenko says. That's right. I love these guys. They tell the truth. That's right. We've heard pretty much the same thing being said about the Kinzhals and Zircons. Just keep that in mind. That is correct. At the beginning of the war, Russia says, we've got these great Kinzhals, hypersonic missiles, and if we put them in the air, the daggers, if we put them in the air, nothing can take them down. And then all of a sudden, patriots started clipping them. Bink, bink, bink. But Kovalenko is balanced in his analysis. Yes, they're serious, but we've heard it before. So, what's the point of rolling out some new hypersonic missile if you've got Kinzhals and Zircons? Logical. At the same time, its performance features are the same. Mach 10, while the Kinzhal boast even more. And still, Patriots and SAM-Ts successfully intercept the Kinzhals. This is good, guys. Perfectly translated to English for you. Also, hear me out on some nuances. Listen to this, he says. Around afternoon on Thursday, I observed an attempt across multiple Russian media platforms to justify the strike on Dnipro by claiming it wasn't an ICBM. I'm watching us in the chat right now. We're talking the same thing. This is the Ukrainian analyst Kovalenko. It's written in Ukrainian, translated to English for you. He says, I've been watching the media this afternoon talk about justifying on the strike on the Pro that it wasn't an ICBM. Even Vladimir Putin said it, which is associated with nuclear arms. But it was a medium-range ballistic missile, the MRBM. He then says, that is the Kremlin's media machine has been ordered to downplay the significance of the weapon used against the Ukrainian city earlier today. 100% agree. Ukraine right now preparing for what comes next, and Russia is trying their best. Downplay, downplay, downplay. It's just a medium range. It's just a little sample of what we can do. Da, 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 da. And then, this is how he writes. I've translated it for you. Russia's top schizophrenic comes into the arena, Vova Putin, talking about the Oreshnik hypersonic missile. Like, no, wait, this wasn't an ICBM. It was some ordinary conventional stuff. Well, I can tell you it was not ordinary conventional. If you haven't seen it, you can go to my video earlier today, a few hours ago, facts only, and I show you multiple camera angles that validates it's definitely not a conventional missile. He then goes on to say, it seems that after what's been done, understanding what he actually did and what the consequences might ensue, given such an insignificant initial effect, meaning, you flexed, but you didn't do anything but wake the world up to your flex. That's what he's saying. After it became clear that the examination of fragments will show exactly what kind of missile was used. Once again, Kovalenko stating the same thing that I always encourage you guys. If you're following my guys, if you're standing with us, supporting our work on the efforts on the front lines, and I will be returning right after Christmas, dropping aid on the front lines, and you'll be with me live sometimes or in videos. And thank you for your care and your support. But if you've grown to trust us a little bit, there is a reoccurring message here that I try to continually share with you, and that is be patient. Be patient. Right now, Twitter wants to run with this, and other platforms want to run with that, and YouTube wants to run with this. I just read you the direct statement from Kovalenko, who is trustworthy. Be patient. Time will tell, but this definitely was not a conventional strike. Papa Dutch, $20 super chat. Let me get this, and then we're going to go deeper. I want to go back to the Putin video, and I want to analyze it for you in a couple of areas you need to catch. I'm trying to paint the entire picture of understanding. And if you're here and you're new, we've got lots of new people. I've never had streams with this many people in it before. And thank you for growing and trusting. But if you're here going, okay, who is the guy? Who is this guy with this red shirt on? I just discovered him. I just found him. I've worked in Russia for 30 years. I speak Russian fluently. I'm working on my Ukrainian. I've worked in Ukraine for 26 years. And for 12 months of this, we have a nonprofit there. We're running aid to the front nonstop. For 12 months of this war, my own butt has been on the front lines delivering aid. All my military uniform is over there. All my military credentials are in my pocket right here. Everything. All we want to do is help Ukraine, and we want to help you understand, not to run after the media, not to run after this narrative or that. Just be patient when it comes to Ukraine, because the message has a nuance to it when you're dealing with Russia, and you have to be patient on it. So thank you, guys. Papa Dutch 20, you have to make the mind run the body. When you were younger, the mind could make you dance all night, and the body was never tired. You've always got to make the mind take over and keep going. George S. Patton, 100%. Okay, that was really good, Canty Luden. Canty, also an American who has been in Ukraine, support Ukraine. Big shout out to Canty. Greg, don't wear the red shirts. You're just any Trekkie. Reference to Star Trek, where anybody that wore a red shirt on the original Star Trek got eliminated. I don't plan on get eliminating, and I I don't wear red on the front. I promise you. I wear camouflage. Papa Dutch, $2. Most of us never find out what we are capable of. That is 100% correct. Papa Dutch, $10 super chat. From ancient times, Japanese villagers have a saying, Shikata ga nai. It means there is no other choice. And Papa Dutch, $5. The $50 question is if the Russian nukes were maintained any better than their tanks. It's a great question. It's a great question. You know, I think that question probably goes to a lot of the nations of the world. How is stuff maintained? United States included. I'm confident our stuff is maintained much exponentially better. But the reality is, who would have ever thunk we would be where we're at right now? It's serious escalation, and I'm not trying to scare tactic. I'm not trying to give false. I'm not a hopium YouTuber. I'm a fact YouTuber. I'm a fact. I put my rear right on the front. It's a very hellish, horrible war. Ukrainian soldiers, civilians are being wounded and killed nonstop. The front zero lines are hell. Hell. And we now are seeing international escalation at a rate that we've not experienced in this war to this moment. It's very, very precarious. Now, I want to go back and play this again. It was this one.
Testing one of Russia's newest medium-range missile systems, in this case, a non-nuclear hypersonic ballistic missile. Our rocket engineers nicknamed it Hazelnut. The tests were successful. The launch objective was achieved. In Ukraine, Dnipropetrovsk, a major industrial complex from Soviet times that still produces missiles and other weapons, was hit. We're developing...
Okay, so let's leave it there. He calls it hypersonic. It's nicknamed Hazelnut. And, you know, we tested it how we wanted to. We were successful. Let me ask you a question, just in general, kindness. What nation test a missile in a real war by dropping it in an urban area of over 1 million people? That's a successful test. Now, that is called pure evil. Pure evil. Now, he also referred to it as Dnipropetrovsk. I want you to understand the nuances here. Of course, he's not going to call it Dnipro. He's not going to call it Dnipro. Dnipropetrovsk. All right? Here we go.
That still produces missiles and other weapons was hit. We're developing medium and short-range missiles in response to U.S. plans to produce and deploy similar systems in Europe and the Asia-Pacific region.
All right, so do you have it? We are developing our medium-range missiles in response to the United States deploying medium-range missiles. Where? Got to so pay attention to this. I'm going to give you some gold right now. Of course, Europe, NATO, that's their nonstop chatter. But Asia, what is he referring to? South Korea. Why? Please pay attention. I am not trying to be Nostradamus. I'm just trying to look at this. We're on it every day. There is now a ratified law binding agreement signed into law just weeks ago that Russia and North Korea are in a military relationship together, that if their sovereign territories are struck, the other nation must respond militarily and assist. We now know that the invasion of Ukraine into Kursk activates that charter, activates that agreement, and in Putin's mind and Kim Jong-un, hey, our charter's been the bell has been dung. Russia dinged. Dung. The bell has been dinged. Ukraine's inside Russia. We've got to go fight. And then today, Putin is talking about not only Europe in medium range, but he's talking about Asia. What is that? Let's go ahead and shake it up over there in North and South Korea. That is what he's referring to. And I just encourage you guys, when you And I know you're not out listening to Putin. I listen to him in the Russian and then we translate it. And I know you don't even want to see his face, but you need to listen. You need to listen. That's why I encourage you, listen to Zelenskyy and listen to Putin. There are only 3 people, and this comes from the British the ambassador to the UK yesterday put out a video. It says, listen to nobody, not even Medvedev. The only 3 people you can listen to about Russia is not even the propagandists. It's Vladimir Putin, it's Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister, and it's Zarokova, the press secretary. That's it. And I'm not glorifying, I'm just saying, listen to it. Just listen to it. Now, I want to go back. Here's Putin talking about we were provoked.
Strikes hit Russian military targets in Bryansk and Kursk regions using UK-made Storm Shadow and US-made HIMARS systems. As we've stressed before, the West-provoked Ukraine conflict has now taken on global dimensions.
You catch it? Play it one more time.
Strikes hit Russian military targets in Bryansk and Kursk regions using UK-made Storm Shadow and US-made HIMARS systems. As we've stressed before, the West-provoked Ukraine conflict has now taken on global dimensions.
The West-provoked Ukraine conflict has now taken on global proportions. The West-provoked Ukraine conflict has now taken on global proportions. I've worked inside Ukraine for 26 years. There are no biolaboratories in Ukraine. I have worked in Ukraine for 26 years. America is not there trying to wage war against Russia. Those are all lies. But he now pushes the narrative that it's America doing this. It's the West doing this. And we must respond to that. Those storm shadows, those HIMARS, those attackums. You have broken the treaty. You're attacking us. And now we will attack you. The last time I checked, Russia destabilized Ukraine. Russia encouraged and supported and participated in the separatist activity 10 years ago. Russia stole Crimea. Russia is stealing Lugansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson Oblast. Russia invaded Ukraine in February of 2022. Russia is scorching the earth. Every meter they chew up, they level to the ground. Russia is shooting defenseless Ukrainian soldiers just yesterday who surrender. They do not play by the rules of war. Russia is stealing children. Russia is destroying hospitals. Russia is destroying schools. Russia is propping up evil regimes around the world. Russia is invading sovereign nations through media and propaganda. Russia is trying to wipe a nation off the planet. But the West is who did it. Unbelievable. But you're hearing it. One more I want to play for you. This one, unbelievable.
We've always preferred peaceful solutions and still do. But we're ready for any scenario. If anyone doubts this, they're mistaken. We'll always respond.
One more time.
We've always preferred peaceful solutions and still do. But we're ready for any scenario. If anyone doubts this, they're mistaken. We'll always respond.
Aren't you glad I spared you from 7 minutes and 38 seconds of that? Yeah, this is the last clip of Vova I'll play. We've always preferred peaceful solutions. There's no commentary needed. We've always preferred peaceful solutions, but we will respond to any scenario. You see, the narrative goes out, we want peace. They then create a scenario of their own choosing to escalate this war. And then they respond to the scenario they created. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. My dear friends, today, we will not quit. Ukraine definitely will not quit. But this war is escalating at a very, very quick clip right now. And to ignore it is a massive, massive mistake. President Zelenskyy knows it. Members of the Verkhovna Rada know it. And I'll show you something in a second about that. Nathan Fody, one of our moderators. Thank you, my dear brother. $10 super chat. Know your enemy and know yourself. In 100 battles, you will never be defeated. The art of war. 100% spot on. You know, if you're only one-sided and not understanding how the other side thinks, you'll never be able to defeat the enemy. That's why I enjoy, and I try to be faithful in sharing and teaching you guys about Soviet mentality. You have to understand it. Papa Dutch, $5. When this calls out to me, what this calls out to me is desperation on the part of the Kremlin, because it calls for activation of what may be regarded as external assets. Papa Dutch, $5 super chat. Understanding something. I speculate, but only with facts. That's kind of how I like to do as well, Papa. Thank you for that. All right, so there we have that. Last couple of things I want to share with you right here. Right there. Please pay attention to this. Airspace is closed. The Russian Federation closes a certain part of the airspace for conducting missile tests from November 22nd to the 23rd. That is tomorrow. It's already the 22nd in Ukraine, and it's going to be Friday and Saturday. And I can tell you right before we're going live, there was other information coming in that it's November 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. I will tell you and can confirm that a similar message was published at the time when the Oreshnik ballistic missile was launched over the Dnipro. Guys, do you remember it was just a few days ago that the American embassy put out the message? And then they closed for the day. And then Greece closed their embassy and other nations followed suit. And a little bit of panic was being ensued. And then I played a facts-only video for you and shared Zelensky's statement that night. Please don't panic. This is what Russia does. But we have to wait and see. This is what they do. So now we're seeing, and this is confirmed even on the Ukrainian side, Russian Federation closing a certain part. What part are they closing? They're closing basically from Rostov-on-Don all the way up to Bryansk in Kursk Oblast. It's in the highlighted area there, pushing up to the border of Belarus. So basically everywhere where you would see the red lines, let me do it this way, guys. I'll make it easier on you. The airspace that is being closed, we'll just go red, it's fine, is this airspace right here. So that is the airspace that they're closing for 3 days. We shall see. That's all we can do. Do what Kovalenko says. Be patient. I want you to see this. Craig Capstick, I appreciate that comment. Thank you, sir. Very pleased with your information. Cheers and thanks from New Zealand. Thank you, my Kiwi friend, Craig Capstick. Nice to see a new name here. I can tell you also, Craig, that I have run into a lot of Kiwis fighting and supporting Ukraine on the front line. So thank you, New Zealand, for all you do. Wonderful New Zealanders there. Now, Rada response. I want to introduce you now to a guy that you probably do not know. His name is Taras Batenko. Taras Batenko. I have never mentioned him on a stream before. He is a Rada member from Lviv Oblast. He said, there is a threat of a missile attack on the Verkhovna Rada in Kyiv in the coming days. We were informed, People's Deputy Taras Batenko. We'll see if it happens or not, but Putin raised the stakes as much as possible. This is coming from a deputy member. I can confirm to you all tonight, live right now, 6:48 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Verkhovna Rada is closed tomorrow. Not only is it closed, government officials and families are warning, stay away. It's not fear mongering, guys. A serious missile hit in Dnipro today. A serious piece of equipment hit in Dnipro today. And it raises the stakes. And this is what he's saying. So don't take it from me. Take it from him.
We've just received info about a potential missile attack on Hrushevskoye 5, the Ukrainian parliament, in the coming days. We'll see if it happens, but Putin's clearly raised the stakes for Ukrainians. Ukraine should respond, but it's not just Ukraine's responsibility. The international community must also react to this threat.
So there you have it. That's coming from Taras Batenko. That is a Verkhovna Rada member. He represents the Lviv Oblast, and putting it out there. That was him on Ukrainian news tonight, guys. So that is where we're at with that. Now, what about the United States? The White House has given a response. The launch of a Russian missile will not have a deterrent effect on Washington's policy toward Ukraine. White House. The launch of a Russian missile will not have a deterrent effect on Washington's policy towards Ukraine. In fact, here's a little bit of a statement about that from today.
So a couple of things. So obviously we are aware of Russia's launch of an intermediate range ballistic missile against Ukraine. Ukraine has withstood countless attacks from Russia. We have seen that repeatedly over the past more than 2 years now. We briefed Ukraine and our close allies, partners in recent days to help them prepare. As the president announced earlier this year, the United States is providing Ukraine with hundreds of additional Patriot and AMRAAMS missiles to strengthen its air defense.
Thank you for standing with Ukraine. United States, I'm an American. Thank you for standing with Ukraine. Thank you for taking the gloves off. Thank you for coming out today and making that statement. We're standing with you. We are communicating with Ukraine. You know, there's a lot of Twitterverse running around earlier today. And folks, I'm not a Twitterverse person. I like talking directly to Ukraine. I was having this conversation with Professor Gertis last night for a couple of hours. I want my info right from Ukraine. Or if I'm talking about Israel, I want it right from Israel. I don't want it third hand. I don't want to read a CNN headline to you. You can go to CNN and read it yourself. I want to try to be able to be a resource where I share Kovalenko. I can translate Batenko, and you can hear exactly what the deputy's saying, or Zelenskyy, or Putler, whoever, and you can learn yourself directly. That is the goal. But I'm very thankful the United States coming out today and saying we are standing with Ukraine. We are standing with Ukraine. And we will continue to do so. So let me see if I'm missing anything else now. No, I want to give a big thank you. Let me catch up on everything else. Rimy Stevens, Canadian $10 super chat. Thank you for that so much. Niels Item, gifting another 10 memberships tonight. Niels, thank you so much for that. Blonde Bombsheller, gifting 10 memberships tonight, part of our moderation team there. And guys, just so you know, if you're watching right now, and I highly recommend join the Discord. I'm not a Discord person. For me, when I first learned about Discord, I said, why would I want to join something that's Discord? Like bringing people apart. I want to bring people together. Well, on our Discord, we try to not be in discord, but be in one accord, learning from each other, recognizing we all have our opinions and our thoughts and our resources and our understanding, and learn from each other. And even on the Discord, they're sharing recipes and food and personal pictures. And it's really good, to be honest. It's not going to be toxic. And people enjoy the community. So consider that. And big shout out and thank you to the mods. They work hard on these live streams. I know Blonde Bombsheller and Dunk on You are working hard tonight. Nate was in here. JDO was in here. You guys are amazing and just so thankful. Darren Vaughn, $4.99. North Korea and Iran under UN sanctions. How can Russia square this SC responsibility? Let me be devil's advocate there. Russia is under sanctions. Russia is an invading nation. I don't mean to laugh. Russia just fired a serious piece of equipment today. Not that everything is serious, but this one was different today. The hazelnut, whatever we will determine at the very end, it is exactly, but it was definitely a middle range, like an intercontinental ballistic missile. It carried 6 other payloads that had 6 inside of them. And it's a fact. That's what dropped on the Pro today. Whatever you want to call it, whatever it turns out to be in the end of the day, this class, this number, this name is irrelevant. It dropped. And thank God it was not loaded. It dropped. It hit. How can that nation be on the UN Security Council? Do we want to go down that road as well? I mean, that's where we're at. That's exactly where we're at. Anyway, we'll see. I want to say thank you, guys. Thank you. And I will check right now. If you're new here, there's myself on the front. To my right, there is Wasp. Behind me is Vadim. Vadim, we just dropped a Kosovac 2 medical evacuation vehicle. You'll be seeing that video coming up from Zhenya any day now. Above me, Oleg Nikolaevich. There is Zhenya with no hat on. To him, above him is Kola. Thank you for commenting, liking, sharing, telling others. I appreciate all of you guys so much. It's going to get interesting, Papa Dutch. $5 super chat there. Trump can't accept being insulted or limited by Putin. You get into a whole different conversation there that I'm not, I'm always prepared to talk about it, but I prepare my streams. I prepared this one very quickly tonight. Because I knew I needed to go live and discuss it back and forth versus being a facts only. But the reality is we're going to see a lot of changes happening in this war in Ukraine over the next month and a half. I'm telling you right now, guys, it's going to go absolutely bonkers. It's going to go bonkers. And I hate to say it, but it's going to go bonkers. But we'll be here together supporting. And hey, if you're just joining us and getting on the hope train, that's what this community is called. You're in at the right time. We're getting ready to roll back to Ukraine, and you'll be with us on the front there. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing, commenting after the stream. Thank you for your financial support. You see the aid we drop. In fact, I'm going to be doing a box opening here. Okay, since you're here with me, I want to check if anything else is coming in from Ukraine. I'll do that right now, but I want to do one quick poll question. Okay. So many of you know, I'm 52 years old. I've been working in Russia since I was 21, actually. I was 21 on my first trip to Russia. Started learning Russian. And then just a few years later, in 98, I started working in Ukraine. But I am new to all the powers of YouTube, and I'm learning. Sometimes I try to be so concise and respect your time, and people will message me after and say, Greg, you should have just kept talking, going longer. We enjoy sitting with you and chatting. So I would like to ask a quick poll question, and this one's going to be interesting. Many of you know that my wife and I, my mother-in-law is struggling with early stages of dementia, and my wife and I are her caretakers, and additionally I travel a lot. I'll be in LA this weekend actually, and then back in Ukraine. My mother's congestive heart failure patient, and she's in the hospital. All of that going on, but God's blessed us. We have a wonderful family, wonderful friends, wonderful community like you guys. But a lot of stuff is coming for Ukraine that I will be taking to Ukraine in December. So with the backstory, would you guys like to see Meemaw do an unboxing of some Ukrainian support? I know what the answer is going to be, but it'll be interesting. So there. Do you want to see Meemaw open up some of the love you guys have sent? Darren Vaughn, he's better without the tie. All right, while you guys are answering that really quick, So Meemaw82 would be unboxing a lot of the boxes that you guys have sent for me to carry gear and supply to Ukraine. So that's the question there. I got plus. Oh, it's Jeffrey Burnett, another one of our California mods in the house. Thank you, Jeffrey. Let me check really quickly here. Anything new? Right now, 6:58 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, there are Shaheeds flying over Kharkiv. But I can tell you as of right now, and it won't happen tonight, it's 2 a.m. in Ukraine. Zelenskyy did not release a video tonight. He just released that transcript, and I shared it with you. So thank you, guys. This has been really, really good. I appreciate all of you so deeply. Thank you for all the super chats. Thank you for gifting the memberships. Thank you for your communication, for your comments. And yeah, 98% want to see Meemaw unbox some Ukrainian support. So we'll take that as a yes. Thank you guys for all of that you do. We appreciate all of you. Be blessed. I know Cirilio. I believe this channel is going to explode. Well, thank you. I hope it grows, not explodes. I've seen enough explosions in Ukraine, but thank you for that, I know, and thank you for helping us get the message out, and thank you to all of you. You guys be blessed, and we'll see you soon. Let's let Zelenskyy take us out tonight.
Слава Україні!